Welcome back to News 46. A 2.5-year-old child was one of the 4 people reportedly injured during an accident Friday afternoon on the south end of town.
We were leaving a previous accident at Betty and Leslie, and we were dispatched a report of a serious accident, possibly a head-on collision at the area of Kellogg and Quarter Horse. And NHP actually was on their way to the fatal call and came across this accident, so they managed it until our arrival. Upon that, we found that there was an offset head-on collision with one vehicle veering off into the market there. It did not strike the building, but it came very close to taking out the sign. Everyone was out of the vehicle. However, there were injuries, and we transported those to the local hospital.
You had to use a squad vehicle, right?
We actually used a number of vehicles. There was a significant number of calls unfolding all through the morning of New Year's Day. And so some of our resources were still committed on the prior accident, Betty and Leslie. We had additional medics coming back into town, so they all kind of convened in there. But we did have a squad who was involved and then 2 medics.
How many people were transported?
I believe 2 were transported from that scene. There was actually 4 that were injured, but only 2 wanted to be transported.
From all vehicles?
From all the vehicles.
All right. And was it a head-on collision, or do you know?
It appeared it was an offset head-on collision with a secondary impact involving both vehicles, and one vehicle then veered off the roadway.
In 1 week, 8 people in Massachusetts are believed to have died from a lethal strain of heroin. This strain has been dubbed Hollywood by police because it's branded with that name. Police are still investigating what makes this drug so dangerous. There could be a deadly mixture of additional chemicals in the batch, or it could be so pure that even some addicts' bodies can't handle it. In a seizure over the weekend, Springfield police confiscated 9,000 bags of heroin with a Hollywood stamp and arrested 4 people on heroin trafficking charges in conjunction with the bust. Police also impounded $20,000 in cash.
Water testing for tritium is being conducted by Nye County officials in Amargosa and Beatty. A grant in the amount of $250,000 was received for this purpose. We caught up with Nye County Commissioner Dan Chinhuffen and Nye County Planning Director Darrell Lacey.
Nye County has been doing that in conjunction with the Department of Energy. This was a new funding cycle. They gave us funds to continue to monitor the wells, to drill new wells, to keep an eye on the tritium, which is the first thing you'll see if anything comes off test site. And they know where it is, and they can test it. It's at safe levels now.
We'll be running samples on an annual basis. The grant of the $250,000, about $50,000 was for the water sampling. The other $200,000 are other activities we'll be working with them on the test site. But the water sampling will be taking about 20 wells. Will be identified and sampled on a yearly basis.
What types of materials are you looking for?
Well, we're primarily looking for tritium, which is a marker for any radioactive movement. The tritium would be the first thing you'd see. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of looking for that as early warning.
Have you found any wells that have tritium in them?
No, we've not found anything. On the test site, there have been testing for years. The material is something we're watching, we're concerned about, but there's been nothing found off-site that we'd be really concerned about yet.
In all the years of testing, have they ever found anything?
They found something on Air Force land about a mile away from the test site up north of Beatty, mm-hmm. and they've been watching that closely, but it really hasn't gotten off of the Air Force land or really off the test site.
Is this an issue that residents should be concerned about?
No, there's something that we're watching very closely. Of course, the radioactive materials from the weapons testing program on the test site is in the ground and the soil. And years ago, there was concerns about the downwinders issue when they were doing above ground testing. Mm-hmm. But it's worth watching, but there's no immediate concerns right now.
The annual CES show is being held this weekend in Las Vegas. 170,000 people are expected to arrive that are interested in electronics, technology, TV, audio, computers, and cars. It is the largest electronics show on Earth. The event begins Wednesday and runs through Saturday at the Convention Center.
And here's Courtney Salmon with Weekend Sports.
Weekend Sports is brought to you by Wolfenstein Construction. The Pahrump Valley High School boys and girls basketball teams play Wednesday on the road at Cheyenne High School in Las Vegas. The PVHS wrestling team has a match tomorrow against Spring Valley on the road. Most of the college football bowl games are over. They commence throughout December in the new year. Some of the results are Stanford beating Iowa 45-16 in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State beat Notre Dame 44-28 in the Fiesta Bowl. And even though the Las Vegas Bowl was right before Christmas, Utah beat BYU 35-28. The national championship game is January 11th, featuring Alabama versus Clemson. The regular season is officially over in the NFL. The playoff standing are as follows. In the NFC, the Carolina Panthers are number 1 and Arizona Cardinals are number 2, both of them securing a first-round bye. Third place is the Minnesota Vikings after beating the Green Bay Packers last night. Fourth is the Washington Redskins. Fifth is the Green Bay Packers, and sixth, the Seattle Seahawks. The wild card matchups this weekend will be the Seattle Seahawks on the road to Minnesota, and the Packers will travel to Washington to play the Redskins. In the AFC, the Denver Broncos clinched the number 1 after the Patriots lost to Miami and Peyton Manning returned to the field. The Patriots are number 2. Number 3 is the Cincinnati Bengals. 4th is the Houston Texans. 5th, the Kansas City Chiefs. And 6th, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The wild card matchups this weekend for the AFC are the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Cincinnati and the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to play the Houston Texans. This has been Weekend Sports. I'm Courtney Stallman for News 46.
Thanks so much, Courtney. It was a really sad weekend for a lot of accidents and the structure fires. But your boyfriend was on scene at that accident, that fatal on Leslie. And he was actually trying to save the man.
He was trying to revive him,
You
yeah.
can see him in those shots. He was coming up here to see
A little shaken up, yeah.
Yeah, he still is very shaken up from that.
It's very
I
sad.
feel sad for him. But he really tried really hard, and unfortunately, what can you do? When we return, we'll be back with Noah Began and your weather.